What's going on, guys? I got Nelson with us today, CEO of Agentfire. So thankful for to have you on today, bro. I really appreciate you taking some time and getting to pick your brain a little bit on how you guys have seen success and how we can kind of pour into agents, brokerages, and individuals everywhere of how they can continue to grow their company and grow their confidence as they continue to show who they are and what they can provide to the marketplace. So thanks so much, bro, for hopping on today.
Sure, man. No, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, man. So how's your Tuesday going? Today's Wednesday? I can't even remember anymore. Is your day going well?
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Got a bunch of videos we're doing here in a little bit. Got to train boxing in a little bit. And otherwise, no, things are just another Wednesday.
No, I love it, man. Any big like growth initiatives going on right now at Agentfire that you guys are getting fired up, excited about, anything like that?
Always. We got two big things that we're working on with Tom Ferry. We have a whole like real estate website masterclass. We actually recorded a bunch of months ago at this point, but I mean, we just spent like hundreds of hours on this thing, making sure that it's basically like a 1 hour long masterclass on every possible thing that an agent could be doing to not just like use their website, but to actually get results from it. And so we're actually, all of the examples that we're including we're showing like actual live examples of agents that are actually doing these things in their websites, in their marketing, and actually getting results. So it's not a lot of content that I've seen just tends to focus on theory, and a lot of that theory seems to be relatively untested. And so this is all like straight. I mean, Tom's is basically top 10 things he thinks agents should be doing, and then me going through and showing live examples with proven success of agents actually doing these things. So yeah, I'd say that's the big thing we're working on right now, and definitely the thing we're most excited about.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited to see that because anytime you got Tom Ferry's name on it, you're going to have your real estate agents realizing it. And I know in our short term in the space, bro, it's been 3 to 5 years now. We've always seen websites that might be lacking in some category. That's either the IDX, lead capturing tools, action plans, whatever it may be. I feel like Agentfire is a step above because it allows you to really focus on the niche and geographically target or farm in an aesthetic way. And it has all the tools that an agent would need at an affordable price. That's why I love you guys, bro.
You know, that's a big problem that we're seeing with traditional real estate website solutions is that they kind of, by trying to just cram everything into one singular box, they end up not doing any individual thing particularly well. They end up being really buggy, and they end up being really expensive, especially if you're running PPC. So what we found is we use what we call our stack approach, which is basically like more of a modular approach, right? So like as an agent, you also don't want to be overwhelmed by a solution that has a million things, 500,000 of which you're never going to use. That those are just rough estimations, but
I hear you.
You know what we do is like we just have the core website, right? 10 core features. These are the best features, the best examples of these features in the industry. So our lead pages tool, our call to action tool, which is Engage. We have our neighborhood guides tool, and then when it comes to CRM, for example, rather than forcing our own CRM on an agent and it not being a good CRM, we integrate with, Follow-Up Boss is our client favorite, Line Desk. There's a whole bunch. And then for PPC, we work with guys like you. So guys like you that have come in, understood the product, are able to get the best result from it. And the cost that these agents are paying, not only is it just less overall on the PPC management side of things, but also when you have a website that is so dialed in from when you have all your social proof in there, when you have a website that makes you look like the unquestioned expert of the specific area that you're working in, these things all help reduce cost dramatically, because with a traditional website, it's just generic, right? It's the same website that everyone else gets. There's no unique information on there that agents, that consumers aren't already getting on Zillow. And so when they come to an Agentfire website where it's got all the social proof, it's got information, it's got neighborhood guides for each of the specific neighborhoods in the market that they're serving. It's got really robust, why buy with us, why sell with us pages, which are probably the two most important pages on a website. You have just a much lower cost per conversion. And then they're able to work with a company like you, guys like you that are dynamic, ahead of the curve. You're constantly changing the creatives you guys are using. You're not just giving the same creatives to every single agent that signs up with you. You understand each agent has a specific market, has a specific demographic that they're going after, and you don't just force them into a box. And that's why, especially the clients that we have with you guys, we have just the best reviews in the industry. And I think pretty much every mutual client that we work with has given us an amazing review.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate you saying that. I feel wholeheartedly in that regard. I feel like when we got into the space with real estate and marketing and really websites in general, I remember seeing like you guys were the most affordable, which was awesome. Because usually when you think affordability, you think, what am I missing? Am I missing a bell and whistle? It's like, that's not the case with you guys. So that's always been, and whenever I started in the company, I really helped out with the Facebook and marketing side. So I remember getting in certain tools, and when I got to you guys, it just seemed it's easy from a lead conversion side of things. A lot of tools in the industry might look good, look shiny, but in terms of actually lead capture, it actually working and not having all these damn support tickets, that wasn't ever the case, man. And whenever I did have a support ticket, your staff was there within like 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. That's another thing too. Like I've seen into some of the bigger companies in this industry, and first of all, they're so disorganized. There's so much like corporate bureaucracy. There's when they want to develop a new feature, it's got to go through 3 rounds of just the prototyping through 3 different designers. Then it goes to a team of 20 developers. Like we're able to develop at a fraction of the speed of some of these big guys, and we're able to deliver better quality and better overall features. And that's all reflected in our pricing too. Like we're lean and mean. We don't have a physical location. We staff intelligently. Our dev team is as big as it needs to be. We're never going to have a 20-person like just with 3 developers. We have a 3-person dev team. Some of these big companies have literally 20 developers, and we're able to put out more features more consistently, updates, and have less bugs. Because there's just a certain point, especially when you just try to cram everything into one single solution, it just creates so much like unbelievable inefficiency, and that just manifests as additional costs to the end user. So our price is actually an issue sometimes, because people, if they're just looking, price to price, they maybe just assume that we're a lower quality product. When in reality, we're like a way better quality product than like pretty much everyone that we're competing against. Sorry, hopefully that doesn't sound
you hit us,
but like
no,
it's,
not at all.
It's just the truth. Yeah.
That's the same problem we're actually having at Dippity, man. Like one of our entry level prices is fairly low in comparison to maybe a bigger solution, and that's some of the questions we get. It's like, and some people will still find it like we're still expensive. I'm like, what we do comparison to a lot of the things that are out there, we're actually very well priced, and it's sometimes can be frustrating, like you're alluding to. It's like, I think our price is actually really lucrative in comparison to the marketplace, but I'd rather keep it low and affordable to where that somebody can come in, fall in love, and I'd like it almost like a Netflix model where you're paying next to nothing on the dollar, and it wouldn't make sense to just try to cancel at such a low value when it's providing this much, in the other side of things. But that's something that I've always
kind of tough. We've thought about, like, we've joked about like triple the cost of our custom websites, for example, and like possibly not even see a drop off in the number of sales. I'd be terrified to do that. I also wouldn't do that. But I think also one of the benefits of, you want to have your pricing where it's not too cheap, right? Because then like we actually had a big issue with like do-it-yourself type clients, and hopefully this doesn't offend anyone. But there's just it's the reality of a SaaS business is when you charge more, the clients tend to be less demanding, and when you're really cheap, you get really pain in the ass clients. Sorry guys.
100%.
So you got to find that middle ground, and also when the quality of the product is like so much greater than the price you're paying, you set yourself up for really good reviews, and that's in Agentfire's growth is almost entirely just from the positive reviews we get, because we're number 1 reviewed solution on Facebook and Google, which again, number 1 reviewed solution, Facebook, Google, like we're competing against companies that are like way bigger than us, and we have more reviews and better reviews on those 2 platforms. And then, so what these companies do is they use, now the big thing is like companies use these review platforms where they can just cherry pick, like GT Metrics, I think is one. Anyway, if you've never heard of the reviews company that the company is sending you to read their reviews, it's because they're cherry picking reviews. You can't cherry pick on Facebook and Google because everyone has accounts there. So So anyway, when you price, you have to find that price where you're not getting people that are a pain in the ass, but you're still delivering massive value in relation to that price. So you're making people really happy, and really happy people tends to attract.
Stay. Yeah, that's something
want
like
to be happy too.
You said the sweet spot there, like trying to find that price that's like in the middle ground. Have you had any luck yet, like trying to find the price match with retention? Like, are you guys month to month, or is it like a little bit of a contract that when you guys get signed
monthly,
on it?
Our monthly fee is actually the same for everyone. It's $129. But then we have 3 different design packages. So we have a $99 design package. We have a semi-custom design package, which is $899, and then we have a custom package, which is $2,500. And then we're starting to do some brokerage stuff now too, which maybe gets up a little bit higher. But yeah, what you find is that, someone that spends more money is going to have longer retention than someone that has like very minimal investment. And we also have no contracts. I think you guys have a limited contract, or
it's like 6 months, and then it rolls into a month to month. So that way, the way that we are able to position it is like if a client comes on, we have in marketing, it's something that really does take time. It's a lot of times the misconception in the marketing space is like, if I spend $500, I'll see 1,000 ROI in 3 days. And it's just like, you might, but most likely it's going to take a little time. It is a lot of an analogy that we probably would use commonly is similar to like the gym and trying to work out and trying to get in shape. It takes a little bit of time, a little bit of discipline, a little bit of routine, trying to interchange what's working on your diet, what's not, little things like that.
I mean, what you guys are doing is, first of all, it takes a little bit of time to produce results with any sort of like paid digital marketing, especially with what you guys do, which is like what I love, which is you guys focus on just building a database and essentially creating a situation where you're building the machine that a lot of people talk about, but very few people actually understand how to create. And so, when I say machine, for anyone watching, that's you basically, you always want to have leads coming in, and you want to have just a system and a digital marketing process where you just always have leads coming in, and a lot of these leads take a long time to mature. But yeah, Tom Ferry actually says that a 30-year database. So let's say you have 100 people in your database. 1/10 of that database is going to convert every year because people move once every 10 years. And a 30-year database should be able to, or I think he even says 2/3. I think a third. A 30-year database should be able to at least refer you to someone else that's looking to buy or sell a home. So, and especially when you are just have incredible branding, you have incredible, we have a mutual client, the Schroeder brothers, and after they started working with you, so we set them up with a custom website, started working with you guys, and they're getting like recognized at their local diner. They have this like brand awareness that they've created because they also are like, they dress really flashy. They got like a Miami Vice style.
They got a little vibe to them.
Purple on the website. Yeah, they got a little vibe, but it's great because it's a memorable, brandable vibe that people just remember when it comes time to do something real estate related, whether that's buy a home, sell a home, or just refer someone that they're consciously aware of.
Yeah, 100%. What you kind of picked on a moment ago is like almost establishing and building your database or your pipeline. Like it does take time. Online leads, I think, can close. Sometimes you can expect anywhere from 9 to 12 months to close an online lead. It's not going to be instant, but kind of what we talked about off the call was like, it takes time to see results. Like when we created the businesses, we didn't really start making money on a personal side of things for 9-10 years, or, we're a little bit younger, so I'm not at that level yet, but it's not day one, year 2. You got to put the work in, you got to build those foundational pieces to be able to establish that credibility. And then once you got that book of business, it's
for a real estate agent, it's that database. It's the book of business. So you start out, you have 0 people in your database, right? Maybe by the end of the first year, you have a few hundred people. But I mean, by year 5, you have 20,000 people in your database, 50,000 people. Again, like 1/10 of those should be every year. If you're doing a good job with sending out a newsletter, if you're staying top of mind, if you're doing all the right things, 1/10 of that database should convert for you, and at least a third should be able to send you referral business. So, and that's the game for real estate agents, and I think a lot of them kind of just miss that. It's just that database and that book of business and referrals.
That's why I love what you do at Agentfire, though. To be honest with you, man, like. That's why whenever we're trying to advise like agents or brokerages, they always are looking at what pieces do I need of the puzzle to see success. And there's a lot of ways to break that down. It could be marketing. It could be your tech. It could be your sales follow-up. A lot of the times what I see agents do is they jump head into a platform that might be $2,000 a month before you're talking marketing, before you're talking ad spend, before you're talking sales follow-up. And if you're talking an ROI question, it's going to require a lot more and a lot of time to see that ROI. So they quickly get dejected month 3 when they're $6,000, $10,000 already in the red before they start seeing any types of attribution. So what I really like at Agentfire is the ability to, like you said, almost like a tech stack. You kind of pay for what you need at a base level. Add on is what some of the shiny objects that you feel might add to your business and attribute to some success. And it's just an affordable option that I think is a great place for people to get the perfect service and the perfect product, couple it with marketing, whatever your strategy may be, if that's branding, if that's trying to increase your bottom line in sales, like it all has a place and a strategy that can work for you. But it all starts with the tech and the system and what you're being seen on. Like you guys have the neighborhood pages, you have the aesthetically feeling like where you're farming their areas, their neighborhoods. When they land on an Agentfire site, you can tell a difference from y'all and other competitors in terms of that. And lead capture tools are there, man. But I gotta applaud you. Not even 30 minutes before we hopped on this call, you guys built our website over here at Dippity, and we had a guy literally call me 30 minutes before. Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. And then I saw that case study you were alluding to a moment ago with the Schroeder brothers. They're on the homepage at the bottom there, and I screenshot it to them. I was like, listen, you boys are a home run. And so they always love to see that, man, because they did do a great job, and y'all did a fantastic on that custom site, bro. It looks fantastic. So
Thanks,
that's kind of my question to you is like, you guys are about 10 years old, so congratulations on your 10-year anniversary as we get up to that. How have you been able to just kind of move with the market and the dynamic of how quickly you have to be cutting edge in your space with website design? And I know you said you have some in-house designers and you guys move fast, but how have you guys been able to really be like top dogs that way?
I would say really easily. I would say there's two things there. So one is just, I don't give myself too much credit, but myself and some of the leadership that we have here, when you work really hard at something, you start being able to see into the gray area that nobody else can really see into. And so like for me, a lot of the stuff that's come down the pipeline, we had the whole pandemic, we have the kind of role and the opportunities for real estate agents are changing in this digital landscape of Zillow and Realtor.coms. And so but I see where things are going like way ahead of time. And so we're able to make changes based on that. And then also just having a really agile team. So that's part of our core philosophy is just only having the essential and discarding what is useless. And so I think a lot of big companies make the mistake of just building up, and they build up these massive teams. And I think it's important for like a CEO I shouldn't be spending time coding. I shouldn't be spending time designing, but I should understand fundamentally how these things work so that, there's no waste and we're not creating systems or processes that are ultimately going to, not help us. There's probably a better way I could have described that with more vulgarity, but yeah. So just having a really agile team and just being able to like on the spot, if we see an opportunity or we see a trend, we're able to change. Also, like we just are built on WordPress. So I think a lot of you guys watching would be familiar with WordPress. If you're not, basically there's a core and everything else gets plugged into that core. This is we use this the core. So everything gets like plugged into that core. So like a traditional development kind of setup is like everything's kind of plugged into like a box. And if you want to take something out, if you want to update a feature or add a new feature, it's a lot of work and there's a lot of risk for, when you move that thing around, it's going to maybe screw up some stuff around. If that makes sense, right? I'm trying to explain this as like non-technical as possible. So, but with WordPress, you basically have a core. And so anytime you develop a new feature, you plug it into that core. Anytime you're updating that feature is like independent of all the other features, if that makes sense. So we're able to develop, really fast, really high quality, very little bugs. And even if we do have a bug, we're able to fix it in like a couple minutes. Whereas, we've heard stories of clients complaining about bugs. I mean, it's like years later and it's still the same bug is there. Like literally, that's not even an exaggeration.
That's good.
Literally years later, the same bug is still there. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you letting me know that because like it sounds like your leadership there and then your ability to kind of know enough about that. Because I know that's the challenge that I feel like I have is, as we kind of get the team expands and everybody has their dedicated roles, I'm not so much day-to-day operations. So that's a personal fear of mine. It's like trying to worry about growth and, the KPIs and things of that and trends that I don't want to lose that skill set because things do evolve. And if my hands aren't in it day to day, that's just a fear I think probably most business owners might have is just the ability to feel like they are still a resource to their support staff. They still know how to do it if they had to step in, if somebody's out, but also realizing like I have to put my time in other angles to be able to continue that sustainable growth. So
yeah, no, you got to just constantly replace yourself. Initially you're doing everything. And then by the end, hopefully you're just managing everything. You're just, you're just kind of sitting on top of everything. And
and I guess that comes with a lot of trust, like hiring the right people that you believe in leadership style and having them, really do what they do and just maybe having staff meetings somewhat frequently. So we're check-ins and getting them up to speed, things of that nature, man.
Yep. Yeah. You build departments, you assign heads to those departments and then you go from there.
The title was CEO. I got to think that comes with a little bit of weight. As we all grow up, we always hear CEO, the top dog, head honcho, a lot of responsibility. Do you ever have times where you're like, man, do you ever feel like an imposter syndrome, or do you feel the weight of what you have to do day to day? Is there any certain things that you're able to like mitigate, manage, and still see success and feel like you're right there, what you need to be every day?
No, not really. As far as how would you define imposter syndrome? Just because I've heard many definitions.
Yeah, it's just like sometimes you're like sitting there and you're like, damn, you might have a little bit of anxiety come upon you where you're like, I'm not sure if I know how to address the team on this big scenario that came up, or I don't know. I just feel today I don't have the confidence that I typically have. Is there moments where you kind of catch yourself and you kind of like give yourself a pep talk? Like, let's see. I know you got that boxer background, so you're able to always find it, brother. So it's
I think I didn't have the luxury of like being able to have imposter syndrome, because if I didn't fix things, like, we were just fucked. So
you're right.
Like for the first 2 years was just constant fires. It was like literally like me having to learn how to modify databases, and like, because I couldn't afford to bring in someone. So I mean, I didn't have the luxury of that. I would say that even the first 4 years, because even once we started hiring people, we started running into a lot more problems. We had this point where we had way too many people and way too much payroll and not enough money coming in. And I didn't have. I had to just make cuts and make drastic decisions to save the company. So no, I would say I was essentially at every level of our initial growth, was forced to like figure things out quickly. I think, like, generally speaking, and I don't know, maybe I've gotten better at this over the years, but like, you could just kind of feel someone's energy from just looking at their face and seeing how they talk. Like, if you just look at their face, just like stare at their face, you can see it there. And I think the same thing goes for hiring people, and you can kind of tell right out of the gate if someone's going to be, good energy, positive vibes, and that's something we've done a really good job with here. Like, everyone here is super cool. We've actually never had any sort of like toxic person, or if we have, I mean, they were gone like very quickly. But, I do all the final interviews, and I always, the person I end up hiring is always the person that has like made some effort to understand what the company is. They're not, just coming in cold, and they just have really good energy. They're smiling, they're happy. Yeah,
I love that, man. So how do you like get yourself to a work-life balance? Because being 10 years now, and I'm sure those first 4 years was probably much more different than it is day to day now. But like, was there a way that you could? Did you have like a rule or something like 5 p.m., shut it off? Like, that's my time for me. And
yeah, man. So I do a lot, right? Like, right now I'm doing boxing, I do salsa, I'm climbing mountains.
That's awesome.
I do a lot. So yeah, I've been working on myself since I was 26. I had like an epiphany, and that's when I really started to, like, want to be just a better person. And so, no, I have like a very specific morning ritual. I mean, I wake up, don't touch my phone. I do Wim Hof breathing. I have a cup of tea, but there's no caffeine in it. It's just like a probiotic tea.
Wow.
Usually listen to a book on audio. Right now I'm listening to 5 Rings by Musashi. Any book that I listen to for just a couple of minutes, then I contemplate it and try to apply it within as many different areas of my life as possible. Then I go first session of boxing training. I have really good coaches. I have all my guys that I work with. I do sparring pretty much every day, and then some skill work, and I have all that stuff set out. I have a housekeeper that I had her do chef classes with a professional chef, so she handles all my nutrition, all my meals. So in the morning when I go off to boxing, she's already packed my little shake that I like. She's packed my eggs that I like to eat after I train. She's packed the clothes that I'm going to wear after I get out of the shower. I do that, come back, work a bunch, 3 o'clock, train again, this time at my apartment with virtually with a coach I work with in the U.S. But basically every aspect of my life is organized. Really good systems for everything. But I have systems that are set up in a way where if there's a problem with any part of the system, it's not the end of the world. I don't use an alarm clock. I go to sleep whenever I want to, which is usually around 9 to 10 o'clock. I wake up whenever I want to, whenever I feel good.
Rested.
I'm at a point now where I've gone through the having to force yourself and burn out and all that stuff. And so I know, like, I just have a really good connection with my body. I can see if I'm overtrained or if I need a little bit of rest. Like, I'll just go and play video games and not do anything. And
reset.
And there's no like thought there, because I'm already, I have a really good, me and my body, we talk a lot. And
yeah, I love that, man. No, that's such a great insight, dude, because I feel like that's so easy. Probably a lot of amateurs that are in business or day-to-day job, we let our bodies fail first, right? Like, you get too stressed, you start stress eating, you don't work out, and the next thing you know, you're 50 pounds overweight. And I'm falling suspect to that right now. I'm not 50 pounds quite yet, but if I don't get something right, it's going to be there pretty quickly. So
honestly, I think a part of that, like, it's actually okay for that to happen initially, right? I mean, especially there's a bad rap for toxic hustle culture. Gary Vee gets a lot of shit. And I don't have any opinions on that, but what I will say is, like, I think if you're starting a business, if you're going to work for yourself, whether that's in real estate, with what you guys are doing, you should just like push the fuck out of yourself for the first couple of years. And you really will have to, if you want to, rise above the people that you're competing against, because we're all fucking competing against each other. Right? And so, but also it's good to like know where your limits are. Like if you haven't passed your limits, you don't know where they are. So I think it's okay to just kind of attack yourself a little bit, focus entirely on the mission at hand. And then once you start getting some money coming in, you start to, you've built yourself a little bit of breathing room. That's where, you can, like this desk, for example, I used to have like leg circulation problems because for the first couple of years of Agentfire, I was sitting in a chair all day. And then I actually got so bad that I had to I was working off of a mattress on the ground. Wow. And I would just work there like all day, and I wasn't taking any breaks. Yeah, I was just in horrible physical shape. And then, but now I'm at a point where thankfully we're profitable. This desk goes up and down. I have a vibration plate below me that I run all throughout the day. So I'm like constantly getting blood flow throughout my body. When the desk goes up, I have a treadmill over here that I'm able to, I use that for about at least 3 to 4 hours a day. I could see the treadmill.
Let's go. That's sweet. And I need to invest in that.
Yeah, and it's, by the way, it's a really good investment. And also you start to, especially if your body starts to break down, you start to realize the importance of just investing in a good mattress, a good chair. If you're at your desk, 10 hours a day, why in God's name wouldn't you put a treadmill and have it, have it go up and down?
Get those steps in on the watch. That's what I've been trying to figure out a way to do.
Also, you're going to be able to just work more, because everything in life is balance. Ultimately, that's what I've come to learn. And so this is something, Musashi talks a lot about in his book of 5 Rings. Like everything needs to be balanced. Like the greatest swordsman needs to understand how to write poetry and how to play an instrument. And that's why I do boxing and salsa and I have a YouTube channel, and I try not to do too many things, but at the same time I make sure that I'm just I'm balanced. And when I'm not, I feel it right away.
Man, I wish you were in the States, bro. We would definitely hang out because you got my vibe. That's the stuff that I really love learning about, how to improve yourself, self-improvement. And it seems like you got it in every category. I'm definitely going to have to text you or shoot you a DM on that about just different ideas that I have in that book. I definitely want to check it out because it sounds pretty awesome, man. One last question for you, bro. What's something you wish you would have known sooner in your career to maybe get you to the next step that you are now? Is there anything that you wish you would have learned a little sooner?
I mean, I know it's cliche, but no, everything kind of needed everything that has happened happened in the order that it needed to happen. And so the way I would answer that question is just with that. I would say nothing in particular. But then, the other way I would answer that question is every single thing that I know right now. I wish I'd known sooner. If you put a gun to my head and make me say one thing, I would say, I actually don't know. Focus a lot more on sales. I was focus on just having the best product, making people really happy. And obviously you should still focus on those things, but I was just not nearly as focused on marketing and sales as I probably should have been. And we probably would have been way bigger right now. We didn't even start to build a sales team maybe year 5, so.
No, that's fantastic advice, man. Cause that's something that I think I'm falling suspect now too, as well, is just trying to probably a little too internal and need to be more external, find ways that could increase revenue and sales and affiliates and referrals, all the stuff that allows you to grow the team and then figure it out as well. Pick it apart either way, but that's great advice. I think it's something that I'm going to definitely go deeper in on, but man, I appreciate you spending some time. I don't want to waste any more. I know you got a busy afternoon, man, but anytime I get out there to see you, man, or you're in the States, you let me know. I'd definitely love to spend some time.
For sure.
So I'm going to stop this recording.